Now the video and audio are both on,
Right.
and then you could,
Share the screen.
yes, click where the share screen.
The meeting.
We're on, by the way.
We are on already. Yeah.
Okay.
Screen.
Then we need to turn the slideshow on.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh God. Oh God. Is this?
Museum.
This one.
There we go. Okay.
Yes, I want to start.
So audio and video are on.
Yes.
Okay.
So if everyone hear you.
Right.
I'm
Good afternoon. We're in Suzhou in Jiangsu province in China. It's 4 o'clock. Can you hear me okay? You can just say yes if you can. Someone? Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Oh, we got some yeses. Great.
Yes.
Welcome to this presentation about the experience. Oh, lots of yeses. That's great. Thank you. The experience of being a student at XJTLU. My name is Marcus Davis, and I work in the global office, and I'm joined by two of my colleagues. I'll move the computer slightly so you can see them. First colleague is the director of our global service.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. I'm Kirsty, the head of Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University International Office.
And we also have another colleague.
My name is Gary, and good to everyone there to join this webinar.
Excellent. You'll have the opportunity to ask questions at the end, but what you can do is as soon as you have a question, type it into the type box, and at the end we'll go through them. Fair enough? So without further ado, we're going to move on, and this is what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk a little bit about China and why it's great to study in China, a little bit about the education system you'll meet here, and then the most part will be about our own university, Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University, about who we are, why you should come and study with us, what you can study, where you'll be studying, and the admissions process. So here we go. I'm going to pass over to Kirsty, who's going to talk to you for a few minutes about China and Suzhou, and then I'll get back to you a little bit about Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University. Over to you.
Hello again. So I'm just going to introduce why you might consider studying in China as a destination. So as you know, there's lots of great universities all over the world. Every country's got great universities. So what makes the thinking about coming to China a little bit different and maybe a little bit special that might give you advantages for your future? So, I mean, the reason why Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University is here in Suzhou is because we are in China. So when the University of Liverpool was looking for an international partner where they knew the future possibilities would be high, they chose China. And I think that's common now across most industries, most academic institutions, most fields of human activity. China is a very important country. Let's just look at some facts. So not only is China currently the largest population. It soon probably won't be. It's likely to be the largest economy in the world by the end of this decade. So lots of, there's lots of controversial issues around China. It's becoming, as it grows in size and importance, perhaps more and more controversial. The fact that it is important cannot be dismissed. It's extremely important to the lives of everybody on the planet. From an economic perspective, to understand this country, to understand its people, its economy, and if possible, its language and culture, I think gives young people a really good opportunity in this century where the importance of China has grown and grown. I've lived in Suzhou for 10 years, but actually I first came to China in 1999 as a young graduate, taking up a rural development project with the British Council. And at that time, when I said to people in my country, which is the UK, I'm going to China, and people were like, oh, where's China? It was such a country with a low profile. I mean, now, 20 years later, this is really not the case. That shows you the speed and change of development. So I won't go through this figure. This has come from our business school, so it's rather detailed. But China has got some key regions, very important regions where the economic development is the most advanced. And we live in one of these regions. We're here in Suzhou, which is the Yangtze River Delta. So the size of the economy of the Yangtze River Delta alone is bigger than most countries' total economies. So it's a huge regional economy with a huge amount of opportunity, population, industry, excitement, and huge, very, very rapid level of development. So we're situated at the edge of the Yangtze River Delta, very close to Shanghai, but all of the cities in this mega region are all very significantly important in terms of industrial development, manufacturing, new technologies, education, and it's a large population center. So you can see some of the major Chinese companies, you probably know of them in your own countries. Most of these countries have now entered most other economies in the world and are growing. And you can see the size of them and the scale of possibility. Lots of our graduates, especially in Southeast Asia, now work for some of these companies. And I think these companies will continue to expand across the world, and the job opportunities for people who can understand a little bit of the Chinese background, culture, understand how they operate will be high, and the number of competitors you may have to apply for these jobs will probably be very, very small. So we always give this slide to our students who are in Western countries. So I don't know where you're all from today, but when we speak to students from Liverpool, from our American, Canadian partners, often there is a mixed opinion now regarding China. So this is what we say to them. If you want to understand the world in which you live, you want to understand some of the current trends in the world, you really need to understand China. You can't just dismiss China as being a country you might not like or you might not agree with the politics of. It's extremely important. And I speak for most of the international students and international staff. It's a very, very interesting and exciting place to live. There's always change. There's always challenge, there's always excitement, there's always a very positive feeling about the future, a sense of optimism. And I think that is great when you're a young person, to be in a place that's very dynamic and fast changing and exciting. So I have some images here of modern China. I'm not sure what these images actually represent, but here they are. And I'll come now to who we are. That's most important. Who are Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University? So you see from the name, we are a joint venture university. That's where two existing universities, in this case Xi'an Jiaotong, which is top 8 in China, and the University of Liverpool, which is top 200 in the world, have come together to create a new university. So we are around 17 years old, and we're located not in Xi'an, where one of our parent universities is located, but in Suzhou. And the reason for that is, I just mentioned, the university wanted to be in the Yangtze River Delta, where there's a large amount of growth and a very young population. So we are the biggest international university in China by some measure. We're now 20,000 students, undergraduate students, and around 3,000 to 4,000 graduate students. So we're very large. We have faculty from over 60 countries. We have students from over 70 countries, and we're growing quite fast. So our location is really great. We're in a great city called Suzhou. I don't know if you've heard of it. You should have heard of it. It's one of the oldest cities in the world. A population of around 10 million people, and it's got a very ancient tradition. And you can see in these photos that are coming up some of the older aspects of Suzhou. It's World Heritage Site in the old town, famous for gardens, it's many temples. It's a religious area in China with a lot of famous Buddhist and Taoist temples. Very long history. And you see at the bottom the new Suzhou. New Suzhou is located around the old city area. So we're located in the new part of Suzhou. Everything is brand new, very good, exciting architecture, great infrastructure, and a great contrast. So in one day you can go to a fancy, very exciting, modern centre with all the kind of shops from you would expect in all major cities in the world, and then you can half an hour later be in the old town having a nice cup of tea next to the riverbank. So you can see, I'll go quickly through these images. Nice, very nice environment around the outskirts of the city as well. There's great mountains, plenty of places for hiking, swimming, lakes, very relaxing countryside areas. And you can see here that it's a very, very international city. So we have a very mixed population, people from all around China. For a start, very few people are actually local people, and most people come from other parts of China. And there's also a very big international community, which is very friendly. I think it's one of the things about Suzhou is it feels a very friendly, open-minded, international, cosmopolitan city, where I think if you come from overseas, you feel very comfortable. You feel very welcome, and you'll find friends from around the world. You'll definitely find your own favorite foods, for example. You'll find plenty of people who speak your language. You'll find most young Suzhou locals speak very good English. So it's easy. It's an easy place to live. Very easy place to live. Lots of international companies. And I come back to, I skipped a slide, but I will come back to that. So we're coming back to the key questions. Why choose Xi'an Jiaotong-Liverpool University? So I've introduced our location. That's one of the main key reasons. Otherwise, you could go to the University of Liverpool, you could go to Xi'an Jiaotong University. But why choose us? Well, we're in this great location, okay? But apart from that, we offer a very high level of education. So all students will get 2 degrees when they graduate. One from the University of Liverpool and the other from the Chinese Ministry of Education. So we have full status under the Chinese Ministry of Education. And we are actually, I think, within a very 10 years of being in really competing for this, we're in the rankings for some of our subjects within the top 20 in China. So it's a really rapid speed of achievement and recognition. What's different about us from Chinese state universities is that we teach all of our programs in English. So that makes it very accessible for international students. But all international students will have the chance to study Chinese, Mandarin Chinese. And we make that quite an important part because we think that having some language skills, as if you can reach a level of fluency in Chinese, it's extremely good for your future career. And all students have the chance to study 2 years in China or 2 years and 2 years in Liverpool. So we have the choice of doing 2 years here, 2 years Liverpool, or you can study the whole of your program here. If you're an international student and you've studied A level or IB, you can do a 3-year degree. You don't have to do 4 years, which means you can do 3 years in Suzhou, or you could do 1 year in Suzhou and 2 years in Liverpool. Whichever route you choose, you get a Liverpool degree and an XJTLU degree. So 2 degrees is the standard if you pass all of your courses. And the university has applied for and successfully achieved lots of academic accreditations. Accreditation means where our courses are recognized by external bodies, which gives them in the job market a edge, I would say. So the business school, which is our biggest school, International Business School Suzhou, has got triple crown accreditation, which means that they've reached the standard of the top 100 business schools in the world. And that will help you if you're planning to become an accountant or a program where you need a professional accreditation to give you the entry into the profession. And the same goes for our architecture department. The Royal Institute of British Architects will give you the basic qualification for being an architect in the UK and in most Commonwealth countries. So you can see here the accreditations we have. They're pretty impressive and cover quite a lot of our degrees. So this helps you for your career, but also helps you if you're planning in the future to do a master's degree. It shows that the program that you've successfully passed has met a certain standard. Okay, so we also offer a very high level of support for students, especially international students who might be leaving home for the first time and leaving their country for the first time. So we recognise that those students, you need extra support and specialised support for various parts of the process of moving to China. So we have development advisors, and our senior development advisor is here, Marcus. So I'm going to pass over to him to explain what we do, what he does, and how this helps you in your university life.
Thank you very much. Okay, so everybody has an academic advisor, and if you've got questions around your study, it might be if you're thinking of changing study, might be if you've got a question about the assessment or about progress or optional modules you want to choose, you have an academic advisor you can meet and ask those questions of, and they're available to be contacted by email or personally the whole time. You also have a development advisor, which is usually me if you're international, and we basically help with all the stuff that isn't academic. So not about module choices exactly, but anything that crops up. So it might be questions about travel, it might be questions about bank accounts, about not credit cards, SIM cards, about accommodation, anything which is not necessarily specific to your modules, you would ask me. I often get academic questions, and what I do is I'm able to help the student find the correct person to give the correct answer. The School of Languages offers continuing English language support for your academic speaking and writing. Everybody in year 1 and 2 does English for academic purposes, but the continuing support is open to everybody all the time, and they do drop-in sessions, one-to-one meetings, and so on. There's a student buddy system where every international student in year 1 gets a buddy who's a local student from years 2 and 3, and they help with all sorts of things about settling into life in Suzhou. Might take you to places like the bank or the mobile phone shop, might give you some practice in speaking Chinese. We have an excellent international student counselling service. So in the COVID period, for example, lots of people were stressed about COVID and worried about their families. And a counselling service you can communicate with and get a very fast appointment with our professional counsellors, and they deal with all issues to do with your kind of mental well-being, psychological well-being. We have a one-stop student service centre. It's a place to drop in. You know, you've lost your ID card, or you can't get the photocopier to work, or you need a particular document from the university. You go in there and you can get seen immediately and get help. We have a comprehensive careers service, which is a whole department whose job is to help you get internships and help you find a job when you are finishing your degree, or help you apply for further study, like a master's. And they hold job fairs, they bring in guest speakers, they bring in businesses from around China, and you can meet with them, have job interviews. We had one of our Indonesian students had a job interview on Monday, organised by the Career Service. So it's very, very good. And we do careers training and workshops, things like how to write your CVs, how to apply for jobs, and so on. There's alumni support. So we as you leave the university, we help you with where you're going next. Could be with references, advice, and so on. And we might invite you to be an ambassador for the university and represent us at events in the future. And of course, finally, there's IT support. So if you have an issue with your computer or with your account or with your email or with the online learning environment, there's a dedicated office on both campuses where you can get help immediately. So the next one is areas of study. So we are a fully comprehensive university. Here are 4 of the schools. I won't read out the degrees because I know you can all read. But here we see there are 5 degrees in the design school. Oh, why is it doing that? There are 8 degrees in our International Business School Suzhou, which has the Triple Crown of accreditations. We've got 7 degrees in the School of Advanced Technology and 3 in the School of Film and TV Arts. So you can do a degree in making TV shows or movies. I'll give you a moment to read those. Okay, we have a School of Humanities and Social Sciences. They have 7 degrees. We have a School of Science with 7. And the Entrepreneur College at Taisang has 7 bachelor degrees, which all have contemporary entrepreneurialism. So they come with 600-hour internships. So you study and work at the same time. So they're very, very popular. And we have a degree in the Academy of Pharmacy. I'll just give you a moment to look at those. Okay, and here's our postgraduate offering. In the same schools. Of course, information about all of these degrees, down to the level of all of the different modules, that's lessons in the degrees, are available on our main website. And here's the final lot of postgraduate degrees. Okay, so now we'll talk about the campuses. We have 3 campuses. 2 are here in Suzhou. They're actually next door to each other. In SIP, the more modern half of Suzhou that Kirsty mentioned. One is the North Campus, which is the oldest campus, and we have a South Campus, which has schools such as Environment and the International Business School Suzhou. And of course, we have the Entrepreneur College Taisang, which is about an hour and a half away by bus. So you'd live in Taisang if you study on that campus. The photographs here are some of the laboratory facilities, teaching facilities. So you've got an architecture studio, computer lab, science lab. We have comprehensive sports available at all campuses, and there's actually an Olympic swimming pool at Taisang. We have golf in SIP and all of the other sports you would expect: football, basketball, baseball, and so on. And there's a very, very big gym with all the things you might want to lift and run against. And so you see more of the gym there. There's a climbing wall. I think that's a football field, if I'm not mistaken. There's several restaurants in each campus. They are both commercial and run by the university. They offer a range of Chinese foods and international foods, and depending on your preference, you can have a meal for as little, a full meal for as little as, say, $2, or you can have a more expensive international meal on campus for maybe $10 would be about the most expensive, I guess.
Yeah.
All of the on-campus restaurants are reasonably cheap, actually, but you do have a range of options. Taisang has a kind of mall of restaurants near its accommodation with things from McDonald's through to high-end restaurants. Accommodation. So here in SIP, there's a range of accommodations, and they're all about 5 to 15 minutes walk from the campus. They start with a kind of shared apartment. So you have your own bedroom and bathroom, but you share the apartment with 3 or 5 other people. The second type is a kind of more of a hotel style. So you have a kind of hotel room with a fridge and a microwave, and all the way through to a studio apartment, which is a fully equipped, self-contained apartment for one. And they range in price from about 1,800 to 2,500 RMB per month. And we will help you book these rooms and make sure you know what the availability is. Some photos of those there. In Taisang, the rooms are either single or shared with one person. And they are approximately 6,000 RMB per semester. Okay, we're going to come on to the admissions and fees now. And I think Kirsty was going to talk you through that. So I'll hand over to Kirsty.
Okay, back to me. So we have 2 ways to enter XJTLU. So to understand this, we have to understand that in the UK, the University Liverpool degree is 3 years long, whereas in China, degrees are 4 years long. So the first year of a Chinese degree is a kind of general studies year. It's more difficult, I would say, than a foundation, but it's a lower level than the first year of a UK degree, because the UK education system is very specialised from the age of 16. So what this means is if you are following A-level qualifications or international baccalaureate qualifications, or you have SATs or some APs, you can skip the first year of the program at XJTLU. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can skip and you join year 2. What that means is that you miss the general education year and you go straight into the specialised degree content. If you want to do that, you have to have reached a kind of BBB level of A-level, IB 30 points, and you can see what the SAT and AP requirements are under there. Now, if you haven't done those kinds of qualifications, no problem. You can join the first year of our degree, and you need to have a kind of level B minimum standing. So we can't tell you exactly what that is for whatever subject you're doing, but if you look at our website, you can see what it is by country. So it's around a B average level. If you do year 1, I'll tell you what happens in year one. You do an entry test to see what your English level is. If your English level is high, then you go into advanced English, and you do a few credits of English for academic purposes, which is related to improving your English for the purpose of academic study. And all international students will do Chinese language, unless you're very, very high level Chinese, in which case you don't have to do it, but most students do 10 credits of Chinese language. And then you do subjects which are preparatory for your degree. So if your degree is in sciences, engineering, technology, you'll be doing some mathematics, quite high level mathematics to get you to a very high level of maths. If you're in the social sciences, business programs, you'll do some preparatory modules in the arts and humanities and social sciences, and you also have the choice to choose a second language as well. So you can choose to do another language. So we teach Spanish, German, and Japanese, as well as English, obviously, and Chinese. So, and because all of our programs are taught in English, we require a relatively good level of English for entry. So in year one, because you'll be studying quite a lot of English in year one, we only require an IELTS 5.0 or equivalent, because you'll be able to, if you come in with an IELTS 5.0, within the 1 year be able to raise your level quite considerably. If you join year two, we need a higher level. So we need IELTS 6.5, minimum 5.5 in all components, and TOEFL 90. So year two, we need a much higher level of English. Year one, you'll be studying quite a lot of English, so it can be relatively modest when you start. If you're interested in graduate degrees, then the requirement is a GPA 3.0, which is the equivalent of a UK upper second class degree, 2-1 degree. And the English level requirements are different depending on the program. So if it's a science, technology, math program, the English is not so important. IELTS 6 is okay. And if you're doing a humanities program, obviously much more important, 7 for IELTS. If you're a master's student and you've got lots of years of work experience, but maybe your degree is not of that relatively high level, so you haven't managed a GPA 3.0 or you haven't got a UK's 2-1, if your work experience is relevant to the degree that you're going to be applying for, then I recommend you apply, because we consider those work experience years as very, very important. How to apply. So this is all done online. You'll find application links on the program pages of the website and under the how to apply page. And it's a portal, so you've created an account for yourself. You don't have to do it all at once, and then you fill in your basic details and upload these documents. So your high school certificates if it's UG, your degree certificates or transcripts if it's for your master's program, your language requirements, etc. Now, most students, when they apply, don't have all of these documents available because you haven't finished high school yet, or you haven't finished your degree yet. So that's okay, because what we do is we take what you've sent us and the records so far, and we can make conditional offers. Conditional means that we'll give you an offer to study, but when you finish your high school, you need to send us the results to meet a certain level, and then you'll get your unconditional offer. So don't worry if you're still in you're still in school, you're still in university. That's normal. Apply and you'll get a conditional offer. Now, I'm going to talk about the visa. So when you're an international student, when you apply to come to China, you need a visa, a study visa. So I'm going to pass you over to Gary, who's the head of our International Student Service Team, and he's going to go briefly through what is needed for the visa.
Okay. For students who come to XJTLU to study a program which is more than 6 months, they need to apply for an X1 visa. If your program is less than 6 months, for example, 1 semester, you need to apply for an X2 visa to come to China. The documents you need in order to apply for these two visas are an JW202 form. We have to, apply to Jiangsu Provincial Department of Education, and this can only be done after you pay your deposit. And when we confirm the payment of your deposit, we will start the process. And then the others, including an admissions notice, after you paid the deposit, I think the admissions team will produce the document for you, and then they will pass the documents to us, and we will use the information to apply for the JW202 forms for you. And then visa application form. Actually, you need to either I think apply on visaforchina.org, a website, electronically, or you have to go to the website of the Chinese embassy in your country to find the form, or to use it online. After you've completed the form, I think you also need to make an appointment with the Chinese visa application center, and then you need to on the day you need to submit your passport and the photos, and if to the visa application center. Okay, if you are under 18 years old, you also need to prepare a guardianship transfer form. Okay, if you can, the guardian has to be in China. Okay, if you have difficulty finding a guardian, either foreigner or Chinese people in China now, you can email us. We will make an arrangement for you. Okay, and then these are the details of X1 and X2 visas. Okay, X1 visa, as I just explained to you, is for students who study a program which is more than 180 days. It is a single entry visa. Okay, and after you get the visa from the Chinese visa application center, you need to pay attention to the deadline to use the visa. Okay, normally you have 3 months to use X1 visa to come to China. Okay, if you miss the deadline, then you cannot use the visa to come to China. And after you arrive in China, pay attention. Okay, you can only stay on that visa for 30 days. So, which means you have to apply for a residence permit. Okay, within 30 days after your arrival. Okay, and then X2 visa is for students who study a program which is less than 180 days. Most of the time, it is also a single entry visa. You don't need to convert it into a residence permit. Okay, you don't need to do anything after you arrive, but you have to pay attention to the expiry date of the X2 visa. Okay, I think that's all the information about visa. Okay, on top of this slide, that's the website is the visa for China, the visa application center in your country. Okay, there are national flag there. You can click to go to your the visa application center in your country. The information for each country might be different, so you need to go to the right web page. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Gary. So throughout the visa process, before, during and after, we will support you. One of the things we do, so when you've accepted your offer, we invite you to what's called a pre-departure workshop, and that is done usually in May or June. We also do one in July for people who are late in the process because they're waiting for their exam results, for example. And that will go through in detail the steps for getting a visa, arriving, what happens after you arrive. So everybody who sets off is very confident with what they need to do, when they need to do it. We also invite parents to those webinars if they want to take part. And there's plenty of opportunity in the process to find information, ask questions. We also normally do some pre-departure workshops in some countries. In Indonesia, we may or may not do it this year. We don't know yet because of the travel situation has been really disturbed by COVID. So we're not following an exactly normal schedule yet. Right. Fees. How much does it cost? So RMB 88,000 per year for the undergraduate fees. The exchange rate changes, but it's normally around 9,500 British pounds, about 12,000 US dollars. If you apply before May the 1st, you get the early bird discount. So that's definitely something worth bearing in mind. It reduces it. Scholarships, I'm going to come on to in a moment. If you get, I'll come on to scholarships. Masters, totally different depending on each program. So you have to go to the program and look at the program fee. But here is the average: 135,000 for the full course to 200,000 for the full course. How you pay your fees is, for the undergraduate, it's 1 year in advance. For the masters, it's 1 semester at a time, or if you wish, you can pay the whole fee at once. But generally, masters break into 3 semesters, undergraduate 1 year at once. And there are some other non-degree programs we'll come on to. Chinese language courses, which you can do before or after your degree, which are very cheap prices actually. And if you're an XJTLU graduate, you can get 50% discount on the language courses. Now, something to mention, scholarships. So I would say that if you're applying for an undergraduate scholarship, you've got a fairly good chance of getting a scholarship if you're quite good academically. Quite a lot of our students, undergraduate students, can apply for a scholarship and be successful. Masters is a bit more difficult. Some countries have friendship scholarships. So look on the website and you'll see which countries they are, and they give you an automatic scholarship. But for masters, because of the pandemic, we've experienced a very large increase in domestic student applications. So the number of students applying for the masters is very, very high. So the scholarship competition rate has actually, I'd say, increased quite a lot. Whereas for the undergraduates, again, because of the pandemic, lots of international students have not been able to travel to China for 3 years. So the competition rate is actually lower and the chance of getting a scholarship is higher. And each year we have scholarships from the Chinese government, and they will be put on our website. They're generally lower level than the academic scholarships we offer, but a good, always really good to apply, between 5,000 to 20,000 one-off scholarships. And we will advertise them when we know about them, so look out for our communications and on our website. If you choose to go to the University of Liverpool, you want to do the 2+2, or indeed you want to do a master's at Liverpool after your degree at XJTLU, you get a 10% discount off the University of Liverpool fee. Oh, scholarship deadlines, I should mention. The deadline is the deadline of application, which is July the 1st. However, it's always better, no matter what university, what scholarship, to apply early, because if you apply early, the scholarships are decided each month. So obviously between January to May, there's quite a lot of scholarship money available. After May, it's largely been used up. So if you're very serious about a scholarship, I would really apply quite soon. And if you're thinking about applying next year, if you apply before February, that gives you the highest chance of getting a scholarship. Okay, so one of the things we offer all students who apply for a degree, an undergraduate degree or a master's degree, if you want to come a few weeks early, you can take the Chinese language summer program for free. This is a great course. We offer this very for particular reasons. Basically, we would like students to arrive a little bit early because it helps us with the processing rather than everybody all arrive at once at a very busy period. So this is one of the cheeky ways we incentivize you to come early. But the students who come really enjoy this. It's very relaxed. It's 2 hours of Chinese class a day. There'll be around 150 students. Very nice weather. The students have a great time. There's Chinese language class in the morning, and then there's lots of social activities. And it's a very relaxing way to get into your university life. And it's quiet when you arrive, so all the visa and the processing pickup is all very relaxed. And by the time all the other students arrived, you're basically an expert, and they'll be asking you where things are. So it's a good way to start your university life in a very relaxed fashion. And if you've got a degree and you've accepted your offer, you will be able to take the course for free. Okay,
Right.
so I think I've come to the end. So we're going to now start going through your questions. I'm going to pass back to Margaret who's got the questions on hand.
I've already started answering
Okay.
by text, but I've got a few that I haven't dealt with that might be for both of you guys actually. And the first one I didn't deal with is, okay, well, someone says, can you elaborate on the government scholarship? But
Well, yes.
well,
okay, I can elaborate to the point that, okay, so one thing about the government scholarships is there are many, they are quite generous, and we never know far in advance when they're going to occur. They're like happy memories. They pop up without you expecting them. So normally we get some funding from the Jiangsu Department of Education, and they give a certain amount of money for undergraduate students and a certain amount for master's students. It's fairly generous, I think around 20,000 each scholarship, one off. 18,000 for undergraduate students.
30,000
for postgraduate and 30,000 for masters. So quite good, and PhD as well. However, we tend to not find out about them very far in advance. What they do is they send us an announcement saying these students can get a scholarship, and it's around 5 weeks before we have to give them the list. So what we do is any student who's in the application process already got an offer, we will tell you about it, and you can very, very quickly apply. You don't need to do anything to apply, just express the interest and we'll submit your names. So it's important, I think, to keep an eye on your emails. This is how we'll communicate to you. And if you see the chance, jump onto the chance. There's usually you don't have to do very much to apply. And because it's a short turnaround time, normally we find that the students who do apply are successful because most people are not reading their emails carefully enough to be able to apply. So keep your eye on the email.
Okay.
The early bird gets the worm here.
It's one about PhDs, and Patrick says that he saw on the website that admissions for the PhD programs is every quarter.
Yeah.
But Study Abroad agency, I assume that's his agent where he is, said that it's only available for September.
No.
Could you just clarify?
No, it's available by quarter. PhD students don't start at the same time. They start in batches. So our website is correct. go and check it out now, and you'll see the upcoming deadlines. And PhD students do start 4 times a year.
Gary, this one for you. A Taiwanese student asks, Wei Chin, when would it be possible? What would be the possible date we could expect to receive confirmation of entry permit? Taiwanese.
You don't need one.
I think they need a visa, Gary. So if you can
they
clarify,
don't need a visa.
they can come
need to
anytime,
apply-
right?
No. They need a kind of like a travel document.
That must be what they mean. How long does it take to get?
You get it from Taiwan.
Yeah, from Taiwan.
Yes.
Before they come.
And it's fast, is it? It's
we
fast.
think it's fast, yeah.
Yeah.
淘宝证, you
台胞证，对，
台胞证，
来往大陆通行证，
好的。
台湾居民来往大陆通行证。
Sure. So you apply for this in Taiwan, and once it's granted, you can enter freely, and you need no visa or any other documentation.
Okay, start of the academic year. Teaching starts on September 11th, but registration is a week before on September 4th. So you have to be here before September 4th.
You actually, okay, so all new international students, we invite all at once to come during a 4-day
Which I've typed in already.
period.
28th, 31 August. I've typed it in, so they should be able to read
28th to the 31st of August. So if you want us to pick you up from the airport and bring you to the accommodation, and we go through all of the visa, residence permit application processes all together in a big group. So it's a great opportunity to meet all of your new colleagues. You arrive during this 4-day window before the start of semester. If you have a reason for wanting to arrive later, it's indeed true the semester doesn't start until September the 11th. So please let us, it's possible. We don't advise it, but you can arrive a little bit late.
So if they apply for an XJTLU scholarship, when will they get the result?
The scholarship for an undergraduate scholarship, there's a scholarship panel once per month. So depending on what part of the month you apply, I would say 4 weeks is the maximum you would find out, between 1 to 4 or 5 weeks. And for masters, it's probably a bit longer, like 2 months.
Anna, I can answer this. Anna asks, is it hard to get accommodation where you share an apartment with other students? No, our actual default accommodation is the shared apartment. So it's essentially guaranteed that you can get that. So don't worry about that.
So it's a shared one private bedroom and private bathroom, and then you share the communal area, the kitchen and the lounge.
And the fridge and the TV.
That's the most common accommodation option.
What's the scholarship value? XJTLU scholarships for masters go up to?
Up to 50% of. Actually, that's not true. There are some masters, the masters in research, for masters in molecular biology, masters in chemistry, and another one in a science, and they're 100% scholarships. They're particular types of masters. For the taught masters programs, it's up to 50% of the course fee. It's very competitive at the moment, I have to say.
Davin wants to know what's the very earliest he can come and live in Suzhou. So he obviously knows that the Chinese course is July. Could he come before July? Could he come in June or May?
You can't come in May. It's too early. I guess if you really want, you can come in June, but we'll have to. You'll have to be very quick with the everything, all the processes. You'll have to pay your fees, and we'll have to process the visa. So, June is realistic, but July I think is a bit more ideal. In June, there won't be very many people here. It's an exam period, so when you arrive, I'm not sure. What would you do for a? July would be great because there's things happening.
It sounds like they've got their reasons for leaving.
Okay.
Pratat, none of our master's degrees are taught in Chinese at all. So
English.
He wants Chinese language taught, so he'd have to go to an alternative university.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we got So G Play graduated 7 years ago.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to read it out. I don't think I understand it. When you graduated like 7 years ago,
Yeah.
but haven't forward your study, I guess they
Yeah, but
mean done an extra.
Done an extra, yeah.
Okay, due to lack of funds, can you apply for undergraduate? So you've got a degree.
I
mean,
guess so, but I
yes.
think it would. Yeah, if you want to change your major, yes, some students do that. We've had some students who did a degree in a business, and then a few years later they decided they wanted to be a civil engineer. So yeah, and you certainly can apply for a scholarship, but do it carefully, because if it needs to be a different subject, I
Yeah.
think, to show a strong reason why you'd like to
Otherwise, there's no
repeat a
progression,
degree.
is there?
Yeah.
Do I need to pay my fees before the semester begins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the arrival window that we talked about in August apply for master's students as well?
Yes, indeed, it does.
Okay.
老师说他们把电脑什么把椅子摆
Is XJTLU offering kind of English course for the students whose IELTS score haven't met the requirement? For example, the requirement is 7, so this must be postgraduate, so yes is the answer.
Yeah.
The student's got 6.5, the requirement is 7.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. So do you want to say about that?
For master's programs, yes, you can arrive early and do what's called a pre-sessional English course, and that's exactly what the course is for, to raise your IELTS level to the requirement.
I believe it's 6 weeks full time.
Yes, 6 weeks full time.
Okay.
Yeah, for undergraduate, the answer is no. You really have to meet IELTS 5 as the minimum.
But it must be post because of the 7.
Yeah.
Hannah starts by saying good night. Good night, Hannah. Is the Chinese language summer school offered online? I'm afraid not, Hannah. It's
No.
online. It's on campus only this
We've
year.
cancelled the online one because everything is back to normal, and
因为不是还有一个我们班的
there's
王慧
limited
欣
demand for
吗？
online now.
20级的没在这张表里，我这里当时知道
Davin,
对，因为他
who
们的
wanted to come early,
Yeah.
actually used to be a student of ours and dropped out during the pandemic, and that's why he wants to come as soon as possible back to Super.
Okay. As long as you just, if you've not applied, apply quickly, and we'll try and speed it up for you. I just want to turn off somebody's microphone, but I'm not sure how.
来了吧？20级
有我室友是没来。
Okay. English taught student from English speaking country, do I need to provide IELTS?
No,
嗯，
I should have mentioned.
还是单纯的没来呀？
你知道王慧欣吗？不知道，那他应该是单纯的没来。
I need IELTS. I think you've answered that.
No.
No. I'm not really sure what Eddie means here. Is cross credit with Xi'an Jiaotong University possible for undergraduate in civil engineering?
Okay, so this is a hard question. Now you've asked a hard question. We have an option for our students in the undergraduate programs to go to Xi'an Jiaotong University for 1 semester. It's something that started a couple of years ago, and it exists at the moment in business. I don't think it currently exists in engineering subjects, but I'm going to ask Helen, who is the boss here of all our recruitment, to check this out, and we will try. Could you write your email into the chat box, and we will check, because we may be a little bit out of date here.
Mohammed asked, do we need to study Chinese language even though the degree's in English?
Yeah,
So policy 50, I think there.
Yeah, you do need to study some Chinese language in year 1. Everybody has to study Chinese, and in year 2, if you don't meet a certain level, you do 1 semester of Chinese.
And postgraduate?
Postgraduate, yes, it's a part of the program. A small part, but I think it's quite an important part, because you're living here and you want to be able to have a life where you can sort of get around, be able to buy things. So some basic Chinese is extremely useful.
And Mariana, same subject in a way. Do you pay extra for the Chinese classes?
No, you get Chinese classes up to the level where you reach the HSK 4. So if you reach HSK 4, you've met what we think is a decent level of fluency. If after that you want to do Chinese, you can pay to do extra Chinese, and you can always do the summer programs or there's a course after you graduate, a quick course after you graduate, and for those you'll get a 50% discount.
How much is 2 + 2 at Liverpool?
Depends on your subject. So it's basically Liverpool have different prices for different courses. Think of it like business, humanities, social sciences are the cheaper ones, around 14,000 British pounds. And the more expensive ones are things like civil engineering, architecture.
Okay. Can you combine the early bird discount with the scholarship?
Yes,
you can.
Yes, absolutely.
Can I use O-level results to apply for year 1?
Yes, you can.
Davin, the guy, used to have. He wants to speak personally. Davin, put your email address in here. We'll get in touch with you.
Yeah. Why don't we do a follow-up call?
Yeah, Gavin, just put your email address in. I'll email you. Mohammed did a degree in English. No, you don't need IELTS. Okay. The Guy who hasn't studied for 7 years, he's talking about since he left high school.
Okay.
So it was a high school secondary diploma. And so,
Sure.
So you can still apply for undergraduate,
Yeah,
right?
of course you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam says he's got to go, but thank you very much. Can I skip to year 2 if I have BBB plus for A-level?
Yes. If you've got
Depends on
A-level.
English, right?
Yeah, no, I think if you need to have the English qualification, but if you've done A-level, you've done that in English, right?
They're all in English,
so,
right?
No, yeah, of course. Year 2.
Okay, we've talked about 2 + 2 fees. Do XHLU undergraduate students also get a Liverpool degree?
Yes, yeah. So all students get a Liverpool degree, the undergraduate, masters, and PhD.
And so masters, they said too. Is there a Chinese language placement test for to know the level?
So you do a placement test in the month before you arrive, and then you'll be put into 0 beginner, intermediate, or advanced.
Do I need a high school diploma or my college entrance examination score to meet a certain standard?
Yes, so it should be meeting a equivalent of a BBB. If you look on our website, you'll see some countries and you'll be able to see what that is, especially for the qualification in your country.
Patrick says his MBA advisor won't give him an official recommendation letter. He will only respond to a request for one by email. Can we do it like that?
I think it's for a PhD application.
So they would, wouldn't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think they should. Patrick, if you have a problem on our system doing that, just let us know, because we can help you negotiate with the graduate school around this issue.
I've got Davin's email address. Anna's going to be 18, but in October. So must she still have a guardian for the first month? Yes. Yes, Anna.
Sadly, yes.
He replies to that.
Mohammed, IELTS for postgrad depends on the degree. Look on the website, but it's either 6.5 or 7, basically, or 6,
It's
6.5 or 7,
6
depending on
to
the
7,
MA.
depending which subject.
Okay, someone called CPH2121, sounds like a robot. They did their degree in
ChatGPT.
English.
Yeah.
So there might be a misunderstanding. They did their degree in English, but we've apparently asked them to submit an IELTS.
Who asked?
So
Who asked?
did admissions ask that, CPH2121?
Is it for a master's degree or an undergraduate degree?
So we'll come
yes,
to that.
for masters. Okay, could you send us an email? Write down our email address, and we'll talk to them on your behalf and find out why they're asking.
Global or international?
International at And please put in your application number.
Gosh. We're coming to the end, I think, luckily. Degree in English, don't need IELTS, correct. Okay, I have a bachelor's degree from Xi'an Jiaotong University. The medium of instruction is English. Do I need to provide IELTS?
You shouldn't need to. But let me just say, sometimes our graduate school are very picky. And as I mentioned, it's about how many applications they have. So if you're an international student having some problems with issues like not accepting your English language qualifications, contact us on this international and we'll speak to them on your behalf.
Rachel asks whether applying for undergraduate requires a personal statement. Yes, it does.
Yeah,
it does, Rachel. Just get one ready. You'll need one in life. Yeah. It's good practice. Anna might misunderstand a little bit our relationship with Liverpool. Can I transfer to your UK branch as a master's student?
Only in architecture can you go do a transfer, or it's not a transfer, it's called a study abroad. They mix up the levels so that you can spend part of the time here and part of the time there, but only in the architecture masters.
EG player, email international at the address I've written down. CPH2121 is not only a robot, but he's excellent at Chinese language. He's studied it for 15 years.
Wow.
Do I still need to be in Chinese class?
No. If you've got you'll have an exemption if you've already met the level, and the level for a master's is HSK 3, so I guess you're definitely above that.
Students don't need to.
Oh, and sorry, obviously Hong Kong, Taiwan, Macau students don't need to attend Chinese. If your Chinese is good, either because it's your native language or you've been studying it for many years, you can exempt yourself out of the classes, because the requirements are for HSK 3 for masters, HSK 4 for undergraduate. As long as you prove you've reached that level, that's it. You don't need to study it unless you want to, and if you want to, you can do more Chinese.
Tiffany says her A-levels come out in August. Is that too late to start in September?
So we have a special arrangement for A-level. So when you apply as an A-level student, you will be given a conditional offer for your A-level results, which come out in August 16, and you'll be given an unconditional offer based on your GCSEs. And that means you can start all of the visa process and enter China. So you don't have to wait until August 16th, because that's way too late to wait. So what the admissions officers will explain it to you. So what you do is you accept the unconditional offer and you start all the processes. When you get your results, hopefully on August 16th, you've reached the level needed, and then we change it in the system and you go ahead and enter.
Yes, Davin, I'll email you soon. Do we help students when they extend their residence permits?
Yes, definitely.
Is graduating high school at the beginning of August too late?
Again, I think it might be possible to do something like we do for A-level students. I think you need to consult the admissions officer and we'll find a solution.
CPH2121's Malaysian, and they want to know how the fact that they've got this great Chinese, how are they exempted? Is there like an assessment?
When you join, you do this Chinese test, very simple Chinese test, and if you've reached the level, you just get an exemption.
TWD is from Singapore and fluent in both English and Chinese. Do they still need IELTS and HSK?
No, I don't think so. I think you exempt yourself out of Chinese by passing the level test, and the English you should have studied in English, I guess. So
that would exempt it.
This would exempt you. Just be clear when you make your application what the language in which you've studied.
And that brings us to the end. Thank you very much, everyone. Good luck, and we hope to welcome you in Suzhou in September. Don't forget, international at xjtlu.edu.cn is an email address you can contact anytime if you think of questions you forgot. All the very best and good luck.
Keep your eye on your email if you're in the application process so you can keep up on any scholarship opportunities. And most importantly, we'll be doing some more pre-departure webinars in the next couple of months. So this is very important for you to get updates on the information and come again to ask any questions. Okay,
Great.
everybody.
That's
Goodbye.
it. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
I guess I just put the lid down and that shuts it, right?
You put the lid down.
Very